My name is Roet-Green. I'm an assistant professor here at the Simon Business School. I teach operations management. And I'm going to talk to you today about my research project. Who goes on the ski lift first? Or in other words, what we're going to ask today is how to maximize revenue by prioritizing skiers. That's the main idea. So it's a joint work with Professors Philippa Fesch, Ofer Baron, and Joseph Milner from the University of Toronto, the Roet-Green Business School. Okay, so you're probably very familiar with queues, lines that we find many times in front of lifts in ski resorts. Okay, so this is a nice, relatively nice example of a queue. This is a much worse example of a queue. This is not something you wanna have. And the problem here is that customers do not like to wait. Okay, they prefer not to wait. They want to ski as much as they can. If they wait, they ski less. So we want to think about it and make sure that somehow we reduce the time of waiting if we can. For sure, if we can do that, our customers are going to be much happier. So how can you do that? What can we do? So what are the possible solutions? Any ideas? Or a possible solution? What can you do? Build more lifts. Great, exactly. Increase capacity. That's the first option that you can think of, right? You can increase capacity by increasing the number of lifts, or maybe you can add, somehow design the lift such that the capacity of each lift would be larger, and then you'll have more skiers at each moment, each hour that can ski, increase capacity, less queues. Okay, but the problem with this is that it's very expensive, right? And you need to design it. It's not that easy. You can get into many problems with this solution. Another solution that we can have, yes? Get single individuals to pair up. So yeah, maybe that's a very, very good solution because it's an operational solution, what you're suggesting here, which is very good. This is exactly the kind of solutions that we want to think about. So maybe, I don't know, I didn't think about it. Thank you. It's a great idea. But maybe you want to think about something else. Maybe we would like to reduce the amount of customers that you have. Okay, so you want to limit the admission. It doesn't sound so good. Okay, when you limit the admission, you immediately think about losing revenue, right? But think about it. If your ski resort, your mountain is so full of skiers that wait all the time, if you limit the number of customers that you let to the mountain, maybe your customers are going to be more happier. They'll be willing to pay you more. So you might not lose anything from that, right? So it's a matter of design, something to think about. But today I'm going to show you another option, another solution. You can leave everything as is. Don't limit admission. Don't increase capacity. Leave everything as is, and just think about prioritizing customers. Okay? Oh, okay. So this is going to be the other two that we're going to think about. So here's the example that I'm going to use. The Copper Mountain in Colorado. It's a very big, famous ski resort with many, many options, many trails that you can take down the mountain. So famous that movies were done about this mountain. Okay, this is the Copper Mountain from '83. And later, Dumb and Dumber, they filmed most the ski parts on that ski resort. Okay, and this is a very busy mountain. The lift capacity is 32,000 skiers per hour, which is amazing. It's so many customers at the same time. So it's very, very popular. And they have many queues that accumulates there. and they thought about what to do. And this is their solution. This is what they offer to their customers. They offer what they call the secret pass. So if you don't want to wait too much, you can purchase the secret pass, and you're actually going to have dedicated lift that is just dedicated for those customers that have the secret pass. Other customers cannot approach that lift, but if you have that pass, you can skip the lines, go directly to that lift, and start skiing at the mountain. Okay? So it's a bit different than what I'm going to talk about today, because we said we don't want to increase the number of lifts, right? And this solution is prioritizing customers with increasing the number of lifts. So I'm just going to think about the option of adding, maybe forming another line of customers. So you don't really need a dedicated lift. You just need another line for the other customers that paid a little bit more maybe for that special pass. And they have their own line. They pass everybody else. They go directly to the lift, start skiing. Okay? Good. The same works for amusement parks. So it's not just about ski resorts. We can think about amusement parks as well. For example, the largest amusement park in Canada, Canada's Wonderland, they offer a special pass that allows you to skip lines. Same with Universal. Same with Disney. They have many options there. Right? So many parks offer special passes. What about the Efteling? I don't know if you're familiar with the Efteling in the Netherlands. It's a very big amusement park in the Netherlands. They have customers from all over Europe. They're very busy. Everybody in the Netherlands, if they ask them how much time you waited in line, they'll say more or less than the queues at the Efteling. Okay, so this is what they compare to, because it's so famous that you stand there in line for so many hours. And yet they offer nothing. There at that park, you can only purchase a daily pass. Everybody can purchase exactly the same pass. Okay, nothing else, no other options. Very, very Dutch. Very, very, okay, it goes very well with that social country, the Netherlands. Okay, so no other options, just a regular daily pass. So this is also a solution that we'll see later on that makes sense in some cases. Okay, good. Now to the model. So this is what we do in operations. We take an idea, a story, we try to model it in a simple way. So here I'm going to restrict things and show you my model. This is our mountain. We have a ski resort. And near the ski resort, we have a village. And in the village live people that we call the locals. And the locals love to ski. They love to ski. They come a lot to the mountain. They want to ski. This is why they live in the mountain near the ski resort, because they love to ski so much. But they're not the only customers that we have. We also have other customers that come from far away. We're going to call them the aways. The aways also like to ski at the mountain, but of course they don't have the same amount of time as the locals. They cannot come so often. So we would assume that the locals are our heavier customers. Okay? They use the service much more. They come to the mountain much more. And we are going to be the service provider. This is our service provider, right? Here she is. And she's going to think what to do, how to design the service such that I'm going to maximize my revenue. And these are the questions she's going to ask. Which customers to serve? You don't always want to serve both types, both kinds of customers. Sometimes you want to dedicate your service only to one type. She's going to think about the prices. What prices should she charge? What about priorities? Should she use priorities? Should she prioritize one group over the other? Okay, so these are the questions that we're going to think about. Any questions so far? No? Clear? Yeah? Good. First step to answer the question is to know your customers. If you know your customers, you can answer those questions much easier. So what are the things that you want to know about your customers? First of all, what is the potential market size? How many customers am I going to have from each type? If I know that, I can continue and ask how many times on average they are planning to come. Let's say that the locals are going to use their pass 20 times a season on average. Okay? But the aways are going to use it only 3 times a season. I want to know that so I can design the best, the optimal menu. The other question that I want to ask, and this is a very important question, how much do they value the service? And by that I mean the single service. Okay? Every time they come to the mountain, how much do they value the service? Which group value the service more? Is there an answer to that? So sometimes there is an answer to that, and in our paper, in our research, we considered different cases. One of the cases was the case where the locals are crazy for ski. Okay, the locals are racing. Okay, they participate in races. They have to go and ski all the time. It's so important for them. So they ski a lot. In this case, probably they value the service much more than, you know, the customers that come from far away and just want to have fun. The other option is that the aways value the service more. And this is actually something that we probably would have more, right? This is I think, more rare than this option. What do you mean by the aways value the service more? I live near the mountain. If the conditions are bad, like today, okay, I'm not going to ski. My kids are doing cross country. They canceled the race today. Too bad. Conditions are too bad. We'll do it in 2 days from now. But if I come from far away and I only have 3 days now on the mountain, I want to make sure that I experience as much as I can. I'm going to ski no matter what, right? I'm going to ski no matter what the conditions are going to be. In this case, your customers, the aways, value your service much more than the locals. And actually, this is what we're going to assume for this talk. Okay, that the aways value your service more. Okay, so let's see what we can do about the solution. So the second step is to formalize the problem. What do I mean by formalize the problem? Write it in a mathematical way. Don't worry. We're not going to go there. Okay, I know it looks terrible, but just keep it in your mind that this is what we do. We actually writing it in a mathematical way, and then we sit down and we solve it, and we come up with the solution. Let's keep that and just jump to the solution. Okay? So, let's say that what we're going to do here is to sell 2 types of tickets. Daily pass and subscription. Okay? And the question is, what are we going to sell to whom and how? So here's the problem. The problem with the case that the aways value the service much more than the locals is a problem that we're actually very, very familiar with. The problem that in which the subscription price is too low, so low that even if you come for a few times, you still want to purchase that subscription because it's so low. Okay? So in this case, right, the aways are going to look at the locals, are going to look at the subscriptions and say to themselves, I don't want to buy the daily pass, it's too much. I better buy the subscription and use it. The problem here is that if the aways are going to buy the subscription, we're not going to make enough revenue because we could have made more revenue from those customers that value our service more, by raising the price, right? So we want to make sure that this doesn't happen. And we have many examples for that. Here are two local examples. Seabreeze. I don't know if you're familiar with Seabreeze. It's an amusement park here in Rochester. They offer two types of tickets. Single entrance for $28.99 or a season pass for $76.99. If you're planning to come more than 2 times, you're better off buying the subscription. Okay, so it's very close, right? We're not talking here about 20 times versus 3 times. We're talking about 1 time versus 3 times. It's too close, maybe. Another example, the Strong Museum. It's the Museum of Play. If you have children, you're familiar with it here in Rochester. So they offer a single entrance for $15 and a season pass that is good for the entire year for 2 adults plus 4 children for $124. So it's a place for families, for a couple with children to come to. And the season pass, the price of the season pass is such that it's better to buy the season pass than to visit twice a year. So the price for visiting twice is much higher than the season pass. Even for 3 children, by the way, I checked that. So even if you just go with 3 children, it's better for you to buy the subscription. So how do we make sure that this won't happen, especially in ski resort, and how are we going to use the queues and the waiting to make sure that this won't happen? So this is what we're going to do here. This is our solution. In the case that the aways value your service more than the locals, what you want to do is, first of all, discount the passes, the daily passes. Okay, so if I buy a daily pass, it's not going to cost me that much. Okay, not going to cost me that much. I'm going to discount it a little bit. Remember, I want to make sure that there's a gap between the subscription price and the daily price. Okay, so first of all, I discount a little bit the price of the daily pass. Second, what I'm going to do is I want to raise the price of the subscription. How am I going to do that? I can't just do that, right? It's not fair. I have to offer something to the customers. So how do I do that? I use the queues. And I use the fact that customers do not like to wait in queues. And I just offer them priorities. So they're going to get a better service. They are going to pass the lines. They're going to be first in line everywhere. But they are going to pay more for that. So the subscription price is now going up. Service is getting better, but the subscription pass price is going up. Okay, so this is the solution. And what we do is that we write the solution as a function of the capacity. So the solution depends on how much capacity I have. If I have low capacity, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to serve the high-value customers exclusively. Which are the high-value customers? If you don't remember, I'll remind you that the high-value customers are the aways now. Okay, so if I don't have enough capacity, I'm not going to do anything else but offering the daily passes. Remember the example of the Efteling? They only offer one type of ticket, the daily pass for everyone. You can say that it's because they're Dutch, or maybe it's because their capacity relatively to the number of customers that they have is relatively low. Okay, so they don't have enough capacity. This is what they offer, and actually this is an optimal solution for them. But if we have more capacity than that, we want to serve also the other type of customers, the locals, and we want to offer them subscriptions. But we're going to do that carefully, making sure that the subscription price is such that the aways are not going to just purchase it. We do so by prioritizing those customers in the queue and make them pay much more for that. not much more, but just a bit more, enough, so that the aways would be discouraged to buy this subscription. Does it really help? So to conclude the talk, the answer is, of course, yes. The model shows that it's much better to prioritize those customers in this case. But more than that, I want to show you a numerical experiment. Okay, so if we are checking the case of, we have 10,000 customers that are aways and 10,000 customers that are locals. This is our market, the potential market size. And the locals are planning to arrive 5 times more than the aways. What you see here is how much you gain from priorities, from prioritizing those customers, the locals, versus just first come, first serve, the regular queue. And you can see that for different capacity levels, you have different gains, but you can gain up to 7.5%. 7.5% of your revenue you can increase if you prioritize those customers, just by using this tool and changing nothing else. So to conclude my talk, if you want to make sure that you don't leave money on the table, think about prioritizing your customers. You might gain more revenue from it. That's it. Thank you. That's the end. Thank you. Questions? Yes?
A little bit counterintuitive. I would think if the aways were, they would value that per day experience very highly. You would think they would be willing to pay more.
I totally agree with you. It's counterintuitive. I totally agree with you, because you think about prioritizing them first, right? But this won't help you. This won't help you to increase revenue. So this is the idea, because if you do that, what do you want to do? You want to increase their price, but the problem is that they look at the price of the locals, the subscription, and they see that this price is so low, they would prefer to buy the subscription. The reason why it happens is because of the volume that each customer brings with it. Okay, so because the customers that are local, they use the service much more often, then you cannot just play the same game with the aways. You will have to prioritize those customers that, yes, value your service less per service. You can think about the entire season, okay? So we actually looked at two cases, two sub-cases, the case where when you look at the entire season, the locals value more, okay? Because it can be right if you think about the entire season, they come more, they value less, but overall they value more. This can happen. And we also looked at the other case where they still value less than the aways, and in both cases we showed that you would prioritize the locals. Yeah, this is counterintuitive. I agree. Thank you very much. Any other questions? No? Yes? What?
What made you focus on this question?
What made me focus on this question? Good question. So this is how we conduct research in operations. My main research interest is in queuing models. Okay, so it's fascinating for me. I like to look at it and think about the solutions that I can offer and why is it happening, what can we do about it. It's very interesting. And one of the things that we think about is prioritizing customers, and it just came up as a model. Okay, so it came up as a mathematical model at the beginning. And then after thinking about the model and thinking about what we can do and how can we solve it, while thinking about it, we started to think about the motivation. So it's a bit different than how research in other areas is conducted. So in other areas, people look at the world and they try to understand the world and build a model from what they see around them. We sometimes just build a model because it's interesting for us to solve it, and then we say, okay, what's the connection between this model and the real world? Can it explain something? And lucky us, we found a good example that really work good with this model. So this is how it works. Yes, thank you for the question. Yes?
Kind of spin off of this, but when I've gone to Colorado before to snowboard, if you ski for a day out there, it's usually like if you buy a one-day pass, it's $15. But then I saw for locals, they actually had Epic Pass for like a bunch of different mountains. I think if you buy it early enough, it's like $450 or like $550. So I always kind of wondered what their pricing has been with that. Because if you're from out of town and you go out there for a whole week, you're going to buy the Epic Pass.
Right. So it doesn't make sense, right? The way they price it. Yeah, it's sometimes it makes more sense, sometimes it's not. I think that there are many ways to improve what is done, and maybe this work would contribute to that. I don't know. Yes, but it is interesting, right? We get this feeling all the time that somebody missed something here in the pricing, and maybe we can take advantage of that, right? That's the idea, right? So in this kind of research, this is what we call mechanism design, and this is exactly what we're thinking about. How to make sure that you design your mechanism, your system, your service, your pricing in a way that nobody would be able to take advantage. Okay, so you will get exactly the result that you were looking for. That's the main idea of this research. Yeah. Great. Great questions. Thank you so much. It was so interesting to talk to you. And I was so happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you.